ammo limits, dedicated status, the old green license card, and the big question, can you legally take more than 200 rounds to the range if you reload your own ammunition? In this episode of Legal Talk with Francois, episode 6, I'm joined by Francois de Kock to unpack real questions sent by firearm owners across South Africa. If you're uncertain about ammunition limits, dedicated status privileges, or whether the old act still applies, this conversation could save you from some serious legal trouble. Stay with us. Good morning, Francois, and welcome back.
Hi, Riaan. Good to see you.
Well, once again, we are entertaining questions that we've received from customers, so I'm just going to dive straight in with the first question, and I'm reading these questions verbatim as we got them. Can someone explain to me, if I reload ammo and I want to go shoot it out at the shooting range and not buy ammo at the range, am I allowed to take more than 200 rounds to the range to shoot it out there? To buy at the range is a lot more expensive than to reload, and 200 rounds can be gone in 15 minutes on the range. I'm thinking of buying a reloading station, but if it's not allowed, I'm not going to spend my money.
So, Riaan, the short answer is no, you cannot, unless you qualify to possess more than 200 rounds in terms of the provisions of the Act. We discussed previously that Section 91 of the Firearms Control Act provides that you may not possess more than 200 cartridges for each firearm in respect of which you hold a license. Now, as we discussed, the limitation does not apply to a dedicated hunter, dedicated sports person, or professional hunter who holds a license issued in terms of the Act, or the holder of any other license who applies to the registrar for authorization to possess more than 200 rounds. Another subsection of Section 91, which I don't think we've covered before, and that does apply somewhat to this question, and that is Section 91(2), subsection 2(b), which says the holder of a license to possess a firearm issued in terms of this Act in respect of which ammunition bought and discharged at an accredited shooting range. In other words, the limitation also does not apply if you are the holder of a firearm license and you buy and discharge ammunition at an accredited shooting range. Now, what that would in essence mean is that if you are at the range, you should be allowed while there to purchase, to have in your possession and purchase then more than 200 rounds at such range, provided that the moment you leave the range, you may not obviously have more than 200 rounds in your possession, because then clearly it was not intended to be discharged at the range. But this section should allow you to, at a shooting, an accredited shooting range, purchase more than 200 rounds, have in your possession more than 200 rounds while you are at the range. But you may not arrive there or leave there with more than 200 rounds in your possession, if that makes sense. So in this instance, ironically, you can have 2,400 primers per license, as we discussed previously, as per Section 93. You can have 600 grams of propellant per license in terms of the 1972 explosives regulations made in terms of the Explosives Act of 1956. But you cannot have more than 200, let's call it, complete cartridges. So the answer to the question is, if you do not have a section, if you do not have dedicated status, and you do not have a license issued in terms of the Act, or you're not a professional hunter, you may not have more than 200 rounds in your possession unless it's bought and discharged at an accredited shooting range. And therefore, you can only, in this instance, reload 200 rounds. The moment that you load round number 201, you would technically then have a problem because of the fact that you have now more ammunition in your possession that you are allowed to have. So unfortunately, the solution in this instance, well, fortunately, the solution would be for the person to apply for dedicated status, and then there's a debate still as to the interpretation of the subsection as far as whether your license must be a Section 16 license, or whether you must simply hold dedicated status and then you are rid of the limit. But you cannot reload more than 200 rounds if you only have a Section 13 license or you only have a Section 15 license and you do not have dedicated status.
Okay. I think that's clear enough. The next question is, do I understand correctly, and we've kind of answered this already, but here's the question, do I understand correctly that when I get my dedicated status, I can have more than 200 live rounds for all my firearms, including my Section 13?
So that was what I was alluding to just now and what we discussed in a previous episode. The answer to that question depends on the interpretation of Section 91(2)(a), which says the limitation, in other words, the 200 rounds, does not apply to a dedicated hunter or dedicated sports person or professional hunter who holds a license issued in terms of this Act. And then it says, or any other holder of a license authorized by the registrar to possess more than 200 cartridges. So the one interpretation is to say that you must have dedicated status and you must have a Section 16 license or a professional hunter with a professional hunting license or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
The other interpretation is to say, no, dedicated status attaches to the person, which is in fact true. And this section says that the limitation does not apply to a dedicated hunter or dedicated sports person, i.e. a person with the status who holds a license issued in terms of this Act. So that would include a Section 15 and a Section 13 license as well. And if you follow that interpretation, it would mean that the answer to his question is yes. If he has dedicated status but only a Section 13 license, the limit does not apply. What I will say is there have been legal experts, attorneys, advocates on both sides of this argument who have given formal legal opinions on it. So I, as discussed previously, and I won't go into all of the details again, but I prefer a certain interpretation simply based on what I'm reading there.
Mm-hmm.
However, it's not quite that straightforward. The safe approach would therefore be to say that you need to have dedicated status and a Section 16 license, or you need to have a dedicated professional hunter status and have a license issued for professional hunting. But that depends on your interpretation.
Okay. The next question, is there an upper limit of how much ammo you can have for your various firearms when you do get dedicated status?
No. So once again, you'd have to look at the two interpretations, but let's make it simple and say I have dedicated status and I have a Section 16 license, let's say for a 9mm, then there is no upper limit. Full stop. Okay.
That's quick and easy. Okay, the final question for episode 6, and this is one that pops up all the time on all platforms. I saw the question again yesterday on, I can't remember if it was GOSA or Saga or somewhere on one of their Facebook platforms regarding the old green card. What is the legal position in regards to using the old green card to buy ammo? Does the 200 rounds now apply because the new Act replaced the old one?
That's a very good question, Riaan. The old Act did not have this 200 round limit.
Mm-hmm.
The old Act also didn't have dedicated status in the sense that we have it today. And therefore not, let's call it dedicated licenses, Section 16 licenses. Now, the first thing that we must take note is the Firearms Control Act repealed and replaced the old Arms and Ammunition Act. So the provisions of the old Arms and Ammunition Act, in terms of which the old green licenses and the ID book licenses were issued, that is no longer law. So with one exception that we're going to deal with now, you cannot rely on that Act and the provisions thereof. It's no longer enforced. The new Firearms Control Act is enforced and you are bound by those provisions. The exception is that in 2009, in the court case of the South African Hunters and Game Conservation Association versus the Minister of Safety and Security, there was an interim order granted where the court said licenses that are issued in terms of the Arms and Ammunition Act will be deemed lawful and valid pending final adjudication of the main application. Now, just to give some background, we will in a separate episode, I think, deal with validity of green licenses and white licenses and what to do with expired white licenses and all of that. However, the context is the following. At the time, the transitional process from the old act to the new act was in process. People had to apply for licenses. There were certain deadlines by which you had to apply. And then there was obviously a certain D-Day that would mean that by that date, the old licenses would no longer be valid. And in that context, a lot of people did not, or the police did not have the administrative capacity to deal with all of these hundreds of thousands of applications for, let's call it, transition to the new licensing system. And in the process, a lot of applications were not processed. A lot of applications went missing. I know of many instances where a person's license was approved in terms of the new act. Let's say Section 13 license, 5 years went by, that license expired, and the applicant was never even aware that they had a license in terms of the new act. They still just had their old green card and had no idea what happened to their, let's call it, transition application. So in all of that context, SA Hunters went to court on behalf of their members and of firearm owners in the broader sense, and they challenged a lot of aspects of, relating to the contents and of the new Firearms Control Act. And the court made an interim order to say that these green licenses will be deemed lawful and valid, because it was clear there was now chaos and thousands upon thousands of people would now be suddenly in unlawful possession, not necessarily due to any fault of their own, but simply due to the police not being able to handle the administrative burden. So that interim order was then issued, and you must look at the wording. It specifically says the licenses will be deemed lawful and valid, because the court obviously knew this act is not in force anymore. So therefore, they aren't valid in the full sense, but they are deemed lawful and valid. So they give you the same protection. All right. Now, and that interim order stands pending the finalization or pending the final adjudication of the main application, meaning the matter still needs to go back to court to decide on certain further of the prayers that SA Hunters wanted to have. But since 2009, the matter has not been brought to finality, so that interim order still stands. Now, that means you are, if you have a green license, you still have a license that is deemed valid. However, that does not excuse you from complying with all of the provisions of the Firearms Control Act, save obviously for, let's say, license validity periods and renewal periods, because your green license will now be deemed valid until one day when this case is finalized, and it's uncertain on what terms that will be. But in the meanwhile, which has been the case for quite a long time now, you are not excused from the Firearms Control Act, save for the fact that you have this green license that you don't have to renew every 5 years or something like that. But all the other provisions apply. The 200-round limit certainly does apply, and so do all the other provisions, as I've said, of the Firearms Control Act, which are law and that which applies to each and every firearm owner, at least in the civilian sense.
Well, I think that answers the question. I'm going to end episode 6 there. I just say this: a highly responsible firearm owner doesn't just train hard. They understand the law, they stay informed, and they make decisions that protect themselves legally as well as physically. Arm yourself, train yourself, but most importantly, educate yourself. We'll see you in the next episode of Legal Talk with Francois. If you like this episode, please click the like button. Please subscribe to the channel so that we can grow and reach ever more people, and smash that bell icon so that you can receive notifications for all our new videos coming up. And as always, link in the description below to the training on offer under the Loan Operator Program. Check it out. We look forward to seeing you on a range one of these days. Francois, thank you so much.
Thanks, Rian. See you next time.